Alright guys, what we see before us is the latest dungeon delve. I did the Blizzard Pass solo module and now I'm working on this. This is Dungeon Module B1 in Search of the Unknown by Mike Carr. Introductory module for characters levels 1 to 3. That's what we got going on here. And I started off with, actually, let's see, the rules that I'm using specifically are, in fact, the basic rules. That's what we're going with. And then these module-specific rules, obviously, incorporated in with that. This is a 2-level dungeon. I started off with, so in the solo module, I only had one character, myself. The rest were kind of added on, non-player character type characters. I had to roll up 3 other characters to join me in this dungeon dive. We're all level 1, starting from the bottom. So that would be myself, the thief, wizard or magic user, a fighter, just your basic fighter, and a dwarf. So that's what we had. When we started off, we can go this route. With minimal glare, I have laminated this. When I started off, I started down here and worked my way up to here with 2 alcoves that had nothing in it, and then here to a secret door, which, where are my notes? Interesting, what has happened? Here they are, under the mic. Notes. So when we got to the secret door here, the secret door was found and led to room 3. Well, secret door was found. We went through here and made our way up here, then around, back down, up again, and let's see, down up here, all in through here, back through here, up, over, and to here, which you'll see that's where it ends, sort of. We'll get to that. So what did we run into along the way? We had our first encounter was a crab spider, which I painted up from another game. That's the best I could do for a crab spider on the spot. And then, let's see, no small hazard. If you're not careful, that thing I believe is poisonous if memory serves. Based on what I use, so the roll for initiative I don't use. I use these counters to randomly assign a number to each character and monster, and then that determines the turn order. As we got the drop on the spider, the dwarf was able to axe it down to 2 hit points, after which the fighter finished it off. Let's see, room 34, we found 1 treasure, no monster. It was a silver mirror worth 90 gold points. Didn't feel like carrying it around, so we left that. Ran into 3 giant rats, which again stole from another game, and painted up and used these guys here. Three of those, knocked those out, and those guys also no small hazard because their bite can be lead to disease. So those guys were a little tricky as well. 3 giant rats. So time is important here. It's a little tricky to keep track of. I keep trying to come up with a better way to do so. Every other turn you want to roll for random or wandering monsters, and then every 6th turn you need to rest. That's essentially it. Now the way to keep track of time, you can do so via actually a 10-minute timer, which I haven't done, or a I don't know why the computer's freaking out, or a based on movement. So say every 12 to 14, I go by squares. You could go by feet. Can also determine a turn, and that's essentially what I did. So about every 12 to 14 squares, I call a turn. A combat, an encounter which entailed combat, I call that a turn. Searching for a hidden door I would call that a turn. So it's just kind of something you have to negotiate with yourself or the people you're with. So then we ran through, I did hit 2 troglodytes, but I didn't feel confident enough to take those on, so we ran from them. And then back to where I mentioned here, where this ends, and that ends because there is a pit that opened up 20 feet long, which myself and myself and the dwarf fell in, right? So then you roll 1d4 to see how much damage you take. Now, because we're level 1, we don't have a whole lot of hit points to work with here. Dwarf, I think, had already been down to, where is he at? Dwarf was already down. He started at 5, got knocked down to 3 from fighting, and then after that fall in the pit, that was the end of him. Now the pit is filled with 8 feet of cold, icy cold water. So any items you have above a certain weight, you need to shed unless you want to drown. So the dwarf was already dead, don't have to worry about him. I had to shed my armor and my sword, and then had to roll based on how much constitution I have times 5, and then that will determine if I'm able to go down and grab my stuff, which I did. The other two had a decision to make, the other two being the wizard and the fighter, as to stay in level 1 or drop down to the pit to join us, because our marching order was such that only the first 2 of the 4 fell in. It was decided that it would take potentially forever, and there would be no guarantee that we would meet up again, so they just dropped in, hoping for the best, and, well, lost the warrior doing that, and the wizard dropped to 1 hit point after doing that. Once we were able to get out of the water, this is where we currently stand, which is over here, and we need to get through these 4 skeletons. We can't avoid them or evade them. They block the path through which we need to go. The only other escape route would be up from where we fell. We can't do that, so we have to head this way, and it looks like it's going to take 4 skeletons to get through to do it. Considering after dropping and losing half my party, just calling it and starting over, but I want to be realistic, and I consider myself the thief alive, and, well, he needs to figure a way out of here before he can start it over again and get some new members to join him. But the next time around, we'll have some foreknowledge of some things, including said pit, so it can be avoided the next time. Couple of things to bear in mind when running this solo. You just got to be fair, and when it comes to a turn where you have to decide what to do, I would roll a die to see which direction they go. And then for secret doors, you just assume that they will start searching for a secret door where they need to, and then that's finding it is based on a roll. And then the chits, which I'm no stranger to. Chits, the module lists a specific number of monsters that populate the dungeon, as well as a specific number of treasures that can be found, and a specific number of rooms in the dungeon. So I did all the math and placed the chits in here. Each room I enter, I will draw a chit to determine if there's a monster in there or nothing, as well as drawing one of these to determine if there's a treasure or nothing. If there is, then we roll on our monsters table or treasures table to see what is in there. There were 6 rooms. Only 2 had treasure in them. The one that I'm currently in now had a peridot gems worth 500 gold points, and the 4 skeletons. So there's a caveat there. And then the 6 rooms, well, the same 6 rooms that I had entered, 3 have had monsters, and then I think so far we've encountered maybe 1 wandering monsters, which were I think the troglodytes. So there's that. What else? So that's my current situation. As far as depicting the dungeon on the map here, when it comes to combat or encounter, I've come to decide that you really only need a big enough section of the map upon which you can have a battle. You don't need to depict a whole grand thing. So as I've gone through this dungeon, there's been, well, at least three iterations that I've set up in which I've had encounters, stuff like that, roughly about this size, and it does match the map here. So there's that. And having laminated these was a lifesaver, because you can take your dry erase marker and just run through to show your progress on that. So I think that's where we're at. I don't know if there's anything else I need to share with you. I have a number of these guys over here. Over here being the rest of the table. There is almost all of the basic dungeon modules that go with the BECMI, basic, expert. I forget what the C stands for. Not for that matter, I forget the M stands for. And anyway, I've got almost all of those, so I have no shortage of modules to run through. These can be easily found on the interwebs and printed off for free. Is that pirating? Yeah, I guess it is, but if it's there, and well, that's what I'm doing. So that's how I got those. And so yeah, had a lot of fun with this. Again, current situation, got to make it through these 4 skeletons. These 4 skeletons here, and that's going to be tricky because my wizard is down to 1 final hit point, so he'll probably die along the way at some point. He only has 1 spell he can use, which is Magic Missile, and then I'm down to 3 hit points, so don't know that I'll be able to escape this dungeon, but I'll give it my best shot. And if I do die, you know, I've only advanced so little. I gained a few experience points from the Blizzard Pass module, but that's it so far. So it won't be the end of the world if I do die and have to roll up another character. But that's how it goes. And in retrospect, having delved into Advanced Dungeons and Dragons a while ago, I feel like this speaks to me better than that. I don't know why. I don't know exactly yet what to attribute that to or how to explain it, but this seems to be, this basic Dungeons and Dragons stuff seems to be clicking with me as of now. So that's where we're at. All right, talk to you guys later.